Okay, everybody, welcome back. And guess what? Rates have been doing some crazy things. In fact, refinances have been, they've been on a little bit of an uptick as people are seeing that, hey, all right, so we're going to be kind of bobbling around the 7%, high sixes, which is about expected, even though we expect them to drop down a little bit more. But let's talk about rate. Let's talk about how that's affecting our market, our inventory. Hey, let's even talk a little bit about Mark Stiles at the Puget Sound Business Journal. And, let's get the show on the road. Okay, so a lot of people just said, wait. Did you say Mark Stiles? And I said, yeah, Mark Stiles. Super cool guy. I've never met him in person. I've talked to him a number of different times on the telephone, especially when I was one of the board of directors. He just put out a article that from Metrics that the Northwest MLS put out. And the reason I'm bringing him up is, one, he did a really great article. Strong work, Mark. In fact, welcome back. And here's the thing. He is looking at, as the Northwest MLS looks at, both single family, condos, and manufactured homes. And we're only going to be looking at, manufactured homes on owned land, I should say. And we're only going to look at residential. That's it. So our numbers are going to be a little bit different. But still, it's a great article. If I remember, have my team do it. In fact, why don't you guys make a copy of Mark's, you need to be a Puget Sound Business Journal member. Hey, if Mark is listening to this, send me a link that everybody can click on and go to your article and read it. Anyway, just let me know. So with that, let's get the show on the road because it's snowing. We got to get out. We got to make some snow angels. And of course, that slush ball fight. Can't really call it a snowball fight because it's a little slushy. Anyway, let's take a look at this. So we've got refinance applications are up because we've been seeing some positive activity with the rates. Now, the feds did not increase or did not reduce their rate. And we got some good numbers like we showed last week. We were, November, December, we're about 1% higher in mortgage rate than what we were the year before, because in 2023, October, we really started coming down on rate. Feds hadn't changed anything and rates really came down. Fact came down to 6.02. However, when the Fed started dropping their rate, had the inverse effect on mortgage rates, because again, they don't control mortgage rates, but they can affect mortgage rates. They actually ended up on an upswing. However, we've actually been staying pretty flat. We actually went from about a half a point higher year over year in January. Now we're at about 0.23% higher than where we were at this time last year. So we're closing that gap, which is really good. And people are starting to say, okay, yeah, you know what? I think we're getting close to where we're going to be, 6.5 to 6 3/4. If you get a 6.5 rate, you're paying points. 1% is 1 point. You're paying points to get that down, but it's very inexpensive to get there. Well, not to 6.5. 6.875, definitely inexpensive to get there and something to think about. All right. So when we pop back here and we take a look at this chart and we see basically that everything that we have been doing has been slowly but surely improving since you've seen since the beginning of 2024 minus that September's upswing that you see there. Now, when we take a look at the headlines are super important. Again, refinance applications tick back up as rates basically have been coming down. On the bottom left, despite apparent volatility, rates have been surprisingly calm. And we just went over that, and a lot of it's because we've got our Wednesday reporting. In fact, we've got another Wednesday report that's going to come up, and the bonds are going to say, hey, how did I do? And yes, that is exactly right. You need to watch your bonds because the bonds dictate mortgage rates because your mortgage rates are publicly traded. That's why they go up and down every day, just like the stock market. All right. So as you watch that, and as let's dial back into here again, when we take a look at that, so if you are concerned about rate, we should be heading back down. We'll crest back down in the lower sixes. As you see the upper right-hand corner, we ticked up basically 0.3, and this is what the par pricing is, but actual mortgage rates are trending a little bit lower than that. Now, bottom right, we've had a lot of people asking us, George, is this a good time to buy? And my answer to that is, if you take a look at that chart right there, you can see that that was based on an $850,000 purchase price. And after 3 years, after 3 years, it says, hey, you would be money ahead if you were going to be in the home longer than 3 years. Okay, so 3 years, 1 day or more. It says, yeah, that was a great idea. But you're like, dude, what if I'm buying more? And I thought, you know what, let's have a little bit of fun. So there's a free calculator that we'll put that link in. It's free. There's no cost. There's no login. You just go there and you can play with the numbers. And in fact, the numbers, when we take a look at that, hang on a second, let's get over here. This is how easy it is to do this calculator. Super, super easy. Even if you do the refinance calculator or whatnot. So this time I put in, yes, the new financing guidelines. Anyway, $1,037,500. Actually, I think it's just a tad higher. It's either 000 or a little bit higher. Anyway, I just picked a good number, $1,037,000. Okay. And with that, you're going to put 10% down. Okay. So yeah, in fact, you're going to have a little bit of a mortgage insurance. Okay. Which is cheaper than putting an additional 5% down. Homeowners insurance, not including, this does not include if you've got all your personal stuff. This is just a basic house, right? What else you decide to, insure for personal items and whatnot, that's a you thing. Anyway, all right. So come back here. Taxes would be about $11,360. Picking no homeowners dues because some do, some don't. And then, of course, I figure at this point you're going to be in the 27% tax bracket. You might be lower, and if so, that's even better. Looking at an average of 5% appreciation, and people are like, hey, dude, how did you get 5%? It's been an average of what we've been looking at over the last 7 years-ish. This year, we're actually anticipating around 8%. So it's my humble opinion, a safe number to work with, and it makes things a little more consistent. With that, figuring that if you're renting a house, you're about $3,400 a month on the lighter side. Some of you are like, dude, I pay a lot more than that. I'm like, that's fine. And some might be saying, hey, George, I pay less than that. That's fine too. Actually, from $2,700, right? It was $2,500 to $3,700. It did not change the number of years that it said is a good number. So let's get into that. So don't worry about that for those naysayers out there. All right. So looking at a rental appreciation of approximately 2%, which is average for what we have been seeing in our area. What does that calculate out to? Well, here it is. At $1,037,000, okay, your total payment that you would have made paying rent is $126,488. However, okay, you would not have spent nearly that much when you take a consideration of equity coming back in. Why? Well, you have a financial gain of basically $300,000. Okay. That's a big deal. That's a big difference. And the threshold for that was 3 years. Wow. Okay. So if you're going to be in your home longer than 3 years, this absolutely made sense. There you go. You saw the mortgage rate, which was consistent with what we just talked about today. And so those numbers, they make perfect sense. So for those naysayers out there, nay and say and nay. Anyway, there you go. All right, let's move on. So let's take a look at Freddie. Freddie, again, is the running 7-day average here, okay? And look at that. Yeah, we're down to 0.25, 0.23. Which is just slightly above, let's call it a quarter rate above where we were at last year. So we are very close to what we were at last year at this time. And in fact, that's again, as you can see from our rolling chart there, that we've been heading in a downward trend for the most part. Yeah, we took a tiny little uptick, but I will venture to say we are going to continue this downward trend as we head into the solid high sixes. Once we get about 6 3/4, we're going to see a ton of people coming out. We're going to see, again, seasonally, more homes coming on market. And that will be important. So remember, as we head into the Northwest MLS metrics, on our side, we're looking at residential only. Our friends at Trend Graphics out there, thanks, guys. Help us with our metrics as we kind of roll through things. All right, so let's take a look at this really quick. And when we blow this one up, average days on market last year was 50. Hey, we're 5 more days on average today at 55 days. We are still holding at 97% of list to sales price. So we're coming off a list price by about 3%, which is, again, consistent when we take a look at adjusted prices and time on market. So when we blow up and take a look at our running 7-day average for the Northwest MLS, you can see we had 623 homes that came on market, but still, just like prior weeks, we're still seeing more homes going pended. So we have more homes going pended than what we are seeing as far as listings coming, on market as far as new. But again, we did have 99 that had a sale fail for one reason or another, and they're back on market. So because there's no marketing, guys, remember, like and subscribe, leave us a comment down below. I know you hear that from everybody. I know, I get that. But here's the funny thing. YouTube actually lets people like yourself and others that need solid information. They say, hey, you know what? Yeah, people are looking at that. And our numbers have been growing as far as subscribers. And we're super happy about that. Again, we take nothing. We give lots. So make sure that you share this. In fact, share it with somebody you don't like. They can be suffered by my sense of humor. Anyway, so just keep that in mind. And Serge is probably out there laughing right now when I said that. All right, let's get back into this metric. Take a look at this. So funny enough, average price on market, right? That's the green line. And as you can see, we're down about 4.5% for average list price, average market active price. But when we take a look at our numbers as far as the average sold, and again, remember, when we talk about average sold, this isn't what your home is worth. This is just the average in the market of what has sold. And that is important because it gives us a trend of what we're looking at. So when we blow this back up again, you can see for the month of February, we're actually up $13,000 as far as an average sold price than where we were at this point in 2024. Now, I get it. It's only these numbers are only to the 7th. I get that. And that's okay. But it is the consistency of this metric each and every week that we evaluate, right? Because then when we take a look at the velocity, we take a look at what numbers are actually doing, and let me blow this up so you can see it, a bigger version of that. You can see that we're up 8.4 on an average sold price, right? So that when we come in and we actually take a look at the numbers of homes that are on market, new on market, and this is where Mark's numbers and my numbers are going to have some disparity because this is single family only. Again, Mark is looking at the Northwest MLS, and he does a really great job. Again, everybody, Mark Stiles, Puget Sound Business Journal. He's definitely a guy that gives you solid information and somebody you should check out. Really good guy. Anyway, although I've never met him in person, maybe I will one day, but super nice guy. All right, here we go. But look, we're 1,800 homes more inventory than we were at this time last year. But look at this. Even though we're 1,100 homes more as far as new on market, we're actually down a couple of hundred homes for the month of February. And we did see that slow down. And part of that, I think, is because of the snow that we'll go out and make snow angels with. However, our solds are up 217 year over year, and we have 550 more pended than what we had year over year. Okay, so if we blow up those numbers a little bit bigger for you, the interesting thing is that as we look at these numbers, we know that interest rates are going to play a big role in this, inclement weather also. However, we're still very positive, and there's a lot of concern, I should say, that is out there regarding tariffs and new construction and what is that going to do for new construction as far as beating down prices, shortening profit points that are in some areas already struggling just a little bit. It's going to have an impact, guys, without a doubt. And most of the big builders that you see out there, hey, they have to report to shareholders, and shareholders, they're looking for a solid return. So yes, I think we will see some adjustments, but I don't think they're going to be massive because some of those tariffs, as long as, they start protecting the border, they put them on hold. Okay, some do, some don't. It just depends on, if you're Canada or Mexico or some other country. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. It's not really a soapbox, I guess. All right. So when we take a look at new construction, as we delve into that little fine subject, here we go. So you can see from the two circles, that's January and January. And when we dive into the numbers a little bit deeper, you can see that the average list price is about 5.5% higher. That's the upper chart. Funny enough, our sales from last week are $13,000 higher than what they were last week. And remember, the week before that, we took a big bath, and this week we're back up again, right? Now, when we talk about actual sales volume, right, we take a look at some of we're down 8,000 for the month of February. We talk about 64,000 higher month to date than we were at last year, which is not unexpected, okay? Because then when we dive into we have 50,000 year to date, 50,000 or 50 homes, I should say, less. 50,000 would be big. 50,000 less home, 50,000, I did it again. 50 homes less sold than what they were last year and year to date. Down 140 homes, actual pended. When we take a look at the month of February, look, inventory is down 99 homes. Solds are down 15 homes for the month of February so far, and 65 on pended. Now, does that mean that the new construction is just diving the toilet bowl? No, it's just a snapshot of 1 week. This is very consistent with what we have been seeing with the chart. So, and in fact, if we actually go back a couple, hang on, and we look at this one, let's pull this up. There you go. Look at this. So, January was a low producer. February started to improve. We'll probably, we will start to see that on the right-hand side. You can see where we're seeing new on market, which is blue, and the red, which shows pended. You can see very clearly that those numbers are considered seasonally normal. Sure, we're going to see some adjustments. Sure, we're talking about new administration and a few new things coming about. However, all things considered, I'm not hearing any of the builders out there, slowing down. In fact, we're still putting new projects under contract for development, for the next couple of years. And remember, builders are looking out 3-5 years, we look out consistently 6 months to a year. The big builders, they're out 3-5 years, land banking certain things. We've got a couple of projects with clients that we're land banking for 2 to 3 years and whatnot, which are going to be super exciting. And they know who they are. And so it's going to be super fun. It's going to be exciting. Anyway, so when we get back in there, and let's open this back up, and we take a look at the actual year-to-date numbers, again, we're off a little bit, but not scary off, and that's the important part. Now, even bank-owned homes became an even, I would say, better story, showing you all those little green dots of, those are homes. No, not very exciting. Why? Because our numbers are super low. We have a 20 home difference. It's actually only 12. 12 home difference, technically, as far as number of homes year to date, more than what we had last year. We have 6 more homes new on market. That is an actual number. 2 homes additionally sold. That's real. And 22 more pended than we were at last year. But here's the funny thing. Look at this. So this is so funny because this clearly shows how it's overpriced. So when we talk about a list to sales price, so let's use $100,000. It's an easy number. So the residential homes are selling, if they're listed at 100%, right, obviously, right, here's our list price, they're selling at 97%. So if it's listed at 100,000, it's selling at 97,000. Okay, super cool. All right, now, bank-owned homes, because they have to push price to show the investor that they got there, yes, they just need to understand it costs some dollars. They're at 91%. So if they list at $100,000, they're selling at $91,000. It's because they're overpriced, not because they're a great deal. They overprice themselves. And that's really unfortunate because the sad part is, as you look at the number here, hey, it just, they're just losing dollars, unfortunately. But nonetheless, it is what it is. And they will always do it that way because, well, they always do. So remember, if you have any questions, write them down below. We respond to you really quick. Smash that subscribe button. Let us know that you like what you hear. Make sure that you share it. In the meantime, enjoy the snow. Be safe out there. And I will see you on the next video. Take care.